Hello again, welcome back. How did you do on the CSS Diner? Like, I hope those challenges were challenging for you, right? I think they're pretty good. I probably done this half a dozen times, and every time I think I learn a new selector, even though I did them already, right? Like some of these ones at the end are kind of interesting. So, and then there's actually some more that aren't on here. This was made before some of the newer selectors were added. So anyway, so I hope you saw the power of selectors. Let's put that to use, right? So let's talk about the CSS Zen Garden. Okay, so here I'm on the section CSS Zen Garden, right? So let's take a quick look at the Zen Garden page. I'm going to open this up here. Maybe I'll close the diner there for a moment. And this is the CSS Zen Garden. The web design here might look a little bit dated because this was created probably 10 years ago. I don't remember when they first came out with this, but it's probably 10 years or more old, right? Um, and this page was created when they upgraded CSS to CSS version 3, right? And when they added the version 3 CSS, they added a lot of new features to the language and it became very powerful, right? So the idea of this page is to show off the power of CSS, right? So let's take a look at it. So this is what it looks like here, but you'll notice there's a bunch of designs here, right? So the idea is that each one of the pages has exactly the same content. The markup for the page has not been changed. The only thing that's changing when you look at another design is that they've added a different style sheet. Okay, so let's take a look. Here's one page here, and if I look at mid-century modern, it looks like this. This is a totally different look. The layout of the page has changed, the fonts have changed, this information here, these links are in a different location. Like on this page, they're all the way here at the bottom and they look like buttons, right? But on this page, they look like text links and they're off to the side in the middle of the page. So what is going on, right? The markup has not changed. So the original, like the source HTML page is untouched. The only thing that's happened here is they've added a different style sheet. Okay, so only the style sheet has changed. So why is that important, right? Well, an important aspect of software in general and software development, and especially for the web, is an idea called what was I thinking of? It's a separation of concerns, okay? And the idea there is that the structure of this document is held in the HTML file. So the HTML file defines the structure of the document. The appearance of the document is totally separate. It's separated, right? It's different. It's its own entity, not a part of the structure, and that's held in the CSS file. Okay, so the CSS language is describing what this document should look like and is not part of the structure of the document. Okay? The third separation of concerns is JavaScript. Now this page doesn't use much in the way of JavaScript, okay? But if we had like a more interactive page, the JavaScript would be the logic or the business logic, the application logic that runs underneath the document. Okay, and that's the third separation of concern. So if you want to understand the business logic of the document, we go to the JavaScript. If we want to change the appearance of the document, we go to the CSS. And if we want to change the structure of the document, we go to the HTML. Okay, let's give a practical example here, right? Let's imagine you made this website and it's a product that you're working on at your company. And if you did a good job of it, you have a very clear separation of concerns so that when your stakeholders in your project come to you and they say, hey, you know what, we're doing a new design for the project because we found that some changes would be great and they would drive more traffic to our website. And so we need to change the appearance of the web page, right? So if you want to do that, you don't want to also have to change the JavaScript and change the HTML. You just want to deal with the CSS, especially if they're small changes, right? You don't want to bring in different people from different teams that are responsible for different things and then have them all have to work together to make a change happen, right? Instead, if it's just an appearance change, someone can edit the CSS file and make that change there without affecting anybody else's work, right? So you can see that happening here. If I go to one of the other designs here, like let's go to garments, right? You can say like, oh, all of a sudden whole page looks different. Same content, same structure, right? Okay, but different appearance, okay? So that's actually very powerful, right? You know, and if we look at it, this in small ways, I can change just the button and the hover, you know, right? We can change just the typography. We can change just the background or the color. We can change how this menu of options displays itself. We can determine like where it displays on the page. And that is without making any changes to the structure of the document, okay? So also, if we think about it this way too, like this doesn't force us to do like weird things like make the structure, you know, support a particular appearance when that structure doesn't make sense to the, you know, the arrangement of the information, right? So it doesn't force us to put this list of you know, of choices up above the introduction to the document, right? You know, like we don't want to have this come first on the page. And that actually has some effects with screen readers and accessibility. So if someone was browsing the document with a screen reader because they had a mobility disability, then you know, we wouldn't want their screen reader to read the this list of options first. We would want them to say CSS Zen Garden, you know, a demonstration of what can be accomplished through CSS, like, because that's what the page is about, right? And then these links would come later, you know. So anyway, so there's my soapbox there. Let me go through here. Why don't you take a few moments? You can stop the video, take a few moments, click through here. Notice that the designs here, this is the first set of designs. There's actually hundreds in here. So if you know, if I click through here and I go to a robot named Jimmy, totally different design. Notice the animation here too. It's actually produced through CSS, so there's no extra JavaScript added, right? It's just all CSS. So animation is best with CSS, right? So you can see that one. And then if I go into this section here where it says archives, you can go to the next set of designs, and then here's like a whole new set. So I can go to under the sea. If I go to next set of designs, and let's do the next set after that, you can see here's a whole new set. So I can do withering beauty, right? So here's like another one. There's steel, you know, right? Oh, there's some weird animation there. Let's go to apothecary, right? So there's a lot of designs in here. The way the page works is a little bit frustrating because you have to, like if you select a design, like you can see I'm on the first set of designs that begins mid-century modern and garments. If I go to the next set of designs here, then it shows me the next list, but if I open up Coyote Forest, in this set, it'll go back to the set beginning mid-century modern, so it goes back to the first list, right? Some of the designs like this one, this looks a little small and cramped, and that's because a lot of these were made like years ago, so, you know, browsers were, or, you know, computer screens were smaller, and so people designed for a smaller screen size, right? So, but anyway, you can also click on that link that says view all the designs, right? Where was that one? Let me see, view all designs, right? I guess maybe that one's missing, but anyway, take a moment and click through the designs here and see what you see, okay? And then come back.